What's up, fight fans? Thank you once again for coming through. Much appreciated. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. All right, so I've just watched what is the final press conference for George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. and I'm even more excited than I was 24 hours ago. This fight is going to be unbelievable. You know, normally when you get a fight like this, you kind of feel like it's going to let you down. It's going to let you down somehow. But I don't think so. I think both of these styles complement each other so well. It's going to be great. Neither are back foot fighters. George Groves may be a bit of a back foot fighter as he's got on, but he attacks. Chris Eubank definitely attacks. It's going to be fireworks. I could do 100 videos on this fight, but I've done a couple of videos already, and I think this is going to be my final one. It probably will be my final one. Both of them are clearly delusional. Both of them think it's going to be an easy fight, which is absolute bollocks. It's probably going to take a bit out of both of them. I do think once you go into these physically tough fights, I'm watching them on TV, and I'm watching them thinking neither fight is going to be the same. And I think that's already happened with George Groves. I think a bit was taken from him in both Carl Froch fights and in the Badou Jack fight. I think physically he's been in tough fights. I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. has been in a physically tough fight yet. He definitely will be in one on Saturday night. There are so many questions that need to be answered. I mean, is Chris Eubank Jr. too light? I think he is. I think he should be fighting at middleweight, but nonetheless, it's not the first time we've seen a small guy against a big guy. Is George Groves the same fighter he was, I don't know, Carl Froch? Absolutely not. George Groves clearly isn't that same fighter anymore. I guess the real question is how far or how good or how much better has Chris Eubank got? And how much slippage has George Groves had since the Carl Froch fight? That was the best George Groves fight. I know he lost the fight, but the first Carl Froch fight was arguably the best George Groves. I don't know if we've seen the best Chris Eubank Jr. yet. I think that could come in a year and a half's time. George Groves has definitely descended from that peak, absolutely. But has he descended enough for Chris Eubank Jr. to take advantage? I don't know. I don't know. That's the question. Does he have the power? Everyone keeps talking about George Groves' power, and I think he does have some power. But does he have enough power to stop Chris Eubank Jr.? I don't know. I don't think I've actually seen Chris Eubank Jr. hurt. I'm trying to think of some of his toughest fights. I don't think I've actually seen him hurt. We've seen George Groves hurt. We've seen George Groves go down. It's not just Carl Froch and Badou Jack, and I think everyone will remember those fights as fights that where you've seen George Groves clearly hurt. I've seen Paul Smith hurt him. Go and watch that fight. I remember that fight a few years back. Paul Smith hurt him. Kenny Anderson, I remember that fight years ago as well. He hurt George Groves. So, I mean, everyone will look at it and think, okay, it's only big punchers that hurt George Groves, i.e. Froch and Badou Jack. Big guys. Not really. Paul Smith we won't consider a puncher. He hurt George Groves. And Kenny Anderson as well. He hurt George Groves. So, George Groves can be hurt. Call me gullible, and you guys might do it right now. But when Chris Eubank hits that thing he hits, that kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, what is it, that kind of boxing machine, fuck me, he looks good. Fuck me, he looks good. And look, fights are not won on that, don't get me wrong. But you guys have got to admit, it does look a bit special. It does look a bit special. If Chris Eubank wins, and it's still a big if, I think he's favourite just, I think potentially we have a superstar. And you've got to love the way he's done it. You've got to love the way he's done it. I mean, this is a guy that has done it without a real promoter. Him and his dad have done it the way they wanted to do it. And it seems like they'll make their millions doing it their way. And that's something you've got to love. A lot of people give stick to Chris Eubank Sr., some of the stuff he says. But nonetheless, he's guiding his son in the right way. He's avoiding the sharks. And he spoke about the sharks a lot, especially when it comes to Frank Warren. And he's guiding his son the right way without a promoter. And I think if I'm a boxer looking at this, you've got to open your eyes a bit more. You've got to maybe give less stick and maybe learn from what they're doing. These guys are clearly doing it the right way. And what they're doing on Saturday is a big gamble. But if it wins, they're millionaires and they're double world champions. And say what you want to say, that deserves a round of applause. Honestly, I can't call this fight. Can't call this fight at all. Great fight, great matchup. Everything's done now. The sparring's done. they would probably be around weight. Chris Eubank Jr. will definitely be on weight right now. So right now it's just ticking overtime. It's mentally getting your mental strength correct, making sure your weight's perfect, making sure you've ticked every single box. And on fight night, it's about putting it all on the line. And credit to these people, credit to the World Boxing Super Series, who I think have done well getting this tournament together, especially the Cruiserweight tournament. And hopefully we see more tournaments from them. Because it does give you the fights you want to see without all the bollocks of politics. And again, I can't wait. I can't wait.